What's going on, Chad?
Hey, Bubakar.
Chad Brooks, the man, the myth, the legend, right? That's what we say. What's going on with you, man?
Man, Bubakar, I've been thinking a lot lately.
Yeah.
I think a lot in general, but something that's really been on my heart and on my mind. That I think, like so many things in life. You ever have something going on that you just feel like you're the only person, like nobody understands?
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
You ever felt like that?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, every time, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been going through some things. I'm realizing, like, in my life, I'm just doing too much.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like too many commitments, right?
Uh-huh.
Too many things to do, too many meetings, too many obligations, responsibilities. There's kids, there's a wife, it's just a lot, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking a lot about that. And, I read a book recently by Dr. Andy Stanley, The Next Generation Leader. And it's really helped me a ton. I would highly recommend the book for anybody out there. Next Generation Leader by Andy Stanley. But, I got on my whiteboard and I've just been thinking, like, there's a process to solve that. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
You got to find the one thing that you're superhuman gifted at. So everybody has one thing that they do that's effortless.
Yes.
Like time stands still.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Like they could do it for 3 hours and it feels like they've done it for 3 minutes.
Yes.
Everybody else, if they had to do it, it's hard for them. But that one super gift that you have, it's easy, it's effortless. So you got to find that one thing, okay? And you got to really focus on that. And then there's 3 other value contributors. So what I mean is it's not your one thing, okay? But it brings value. So I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and I'm in the process of determining, what's that one thing for me, and the 3 areas to bring value, and then delegating everything else. Everything else. And as I went through this process, I realized, well, as I go through this process, my obligation and duty as a leader is to help my team go through the same thing. Because everybody then brings more value. Think about it. If you focus on your one super gift and the 3 things that bring maximum value to those around you, are you more valuable?
Of course.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
But if you stop there, you're still more valuable. But what if you teach your children to
share that? Yeah.
Your wife, your partner, your employee, or your manager,
your friends,
or a person at church, right?
Yeah.
Then are you even more valuable?
Of course.
Because then everybody gets more done by doing less. It's counterintuitive. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and I'm on this journey. I'm always trying to figure out a better way to get better, and that's where my focus is. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good one, because we all go through it, like you said, and we live in this world with social media, phones. We talked about it the other session, where it's like, how do I control? And like, everybody feeling like, oh, we're losing it. Everybody feel like I'm losing, time. How do I do this? I got so many things going on, and I think that's a good solution.
Yeah.
That you're going through, and you're gonna figure that out, and then continue to share with us.
That's right.
Continue to share with us.
Absolutely.
And then what got you thinking about that though? What got you inspired?
Oh man, I think it's been well documented. So, I'm 36 years old. I kind of come from a broken home. And I started my first business, when I was 18. So I've never really worked for anybody else. I always tell people jokingly, I would make the worst employee. I'm unemployed. But, I think 20 years, basically, not quite 20, but 15 years of just grinding.
Yeah.
And I decided to do something that I've never done before. And I decided to get naked.
Yeah.
Right? I decided to really, really work on myself, my physical health, but my mental health, my emotional health, and my spiritual health. So the last 18 months, I've still got all these things going on business-wise and such, but I've really been hyper-focused on developing myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And through that process, the Lord's revealing things to me, and they scare me, man. They're not easy things to hear, and they're even harder to implement. But as I go through each level, I'll face a new devil, but then I become a better version.
Yeah.
So something that was inspired, to answer the question, what's behind that? Well, it's the Lord behind it.
Yeah.
I spent so much of my life chasing the next target that I never slowed down to really get in tune with my intuition.
Yes.
Right? Like I would feel my intuition. Like I would know when it's ringing, but I would just ignore it and boom, go, 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 action, 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 money, 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 goal, goal, goal. And I guess I just had to get to this point in my life where I was just exhausted. You know what I mean? I was just exhausted and I couldn't do it anymore. And that's when I began this journey, you know, and so a couple things the Lord's really been revealing to me. In August, I was in a soul care conference in Breckenridge, and it's the second time I felt that I heard it audibly. I heard God talk to me, like a voice, and he said, it's time to move on. And it scared me to death.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know? So that's a lot what's behind it, Bubakar, is just being mindful, right? That who am I? Right? That's the other thing that I started to ask. You know, I was told it was time to move on, and then I started asking myself, who am I? And this has been a long journey, but you know, something I realized.
What did you realize?
Yeah, so here's kind of funny about us humans. If you think about a tree, right? Like everybody wants the tree to be tall. The taller the better, right? They want the highest, you know, the biggest tree, high canopy, real full bushes. But you know what we don't want?
What, the growing stages?
Roots.
Yeah.
We don't want deep roots.
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of it. And I'm not immune from that. And I want all the spoils of victory without, you know, the burdens of battle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work like that. So, you know, the deeper the roots is the higher the canopy.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yeah.
And so I've had some things from a roots perspective that are down deep.
Yes.
That I haven't been in tune with, you know, and so I've only been on this journey 18 months, and I can't wait to see what focusing on that will do in the next 20 years of my life.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me that you're enjoying the process, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. You're enjoying the process because you got to start somewhere. But isn't it the first thing is to think about it and then take the first action? And whatever that first action was for you 18 months ago, right?
Yeah.
If you could help, because I think that's, to me, like when I hear it, what you just said, it's gonna help me understand. Hey, you know, whatever it is, that baby step done. You know, don't think it's not a big deal. You thinking about it and taking that first action. It could be a small thing. It could be like change of habit. It could be like, you know, reading or like going and finding a mentor or whatever it is. You know, to get that first step. How important that is that in this process?
It's critical.
Yeah.
You know, any problem, you know, you want to know the first step in solving any problem?
Knowing there's a problem?
Is giving it a name.
Okay, yeah.
If you have a nameless problem, you have a real problem.
Yeah.
Right? I tell, you know, throughout my experience in business, I've always told my customers, my vendors, and my employees the same thing. Okay, the only problem we can't solve is the one we're not aware of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though it's hard to be that person that's bringing a problem to your boss or to the owner or whatever, like you're afraid you might be judged or you might be you know, like you've got to bring your problems out in the open.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Problems go in the open. They get light shed on them and then they get solved. But the problems that get concealed, they grow. So you know, as a person, you know, that's really been affected by addiction and mental health, you know, runs in my family. That's a hard cycle to break. So, but you know, it's like, I wish there was this real big story. There's a bunch of them in my life. That the reason why I did this is because I had this massive challenge, right? It's like a real big story to tell. But the reality, Bubakar, you want to know what got me started on this journey?
What is it?
It was a message. It was a simple message. One of my favorite people in all of the world, she said one thing to me. She said, it's hard to be a human. And I started thinking about that. And I think that's what got me started on the journey. And then this sweet woman did one more thing. She sent me a book called Soul Care.
Soul Care.
By Rob Reimer. And this was February of 2021. And so it's not this big, you know, miraculous like you think it is, right? It wasn't like that. There was no existential crisis. I wasn't hospitalized. I wasn't fighting for my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the verge of bankruptcy. It was none of those things. It was just, I was tired. I've been tired my whole life. I was ignoring it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She saw it in me. Yeah. Because she's like that.
Yeah.
She's a follower of the Lord. She knows things.
Yeah.
You know, things that aren't human.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think God put it on her heart, and she shared one message with me on a phone call. Hey, Chad, you know what? Sometimes it's just hard to be human.
Yeah.
And dude, I've just really realized, I appreciate how true that is. But then she did the other thing. She sent me this book called Soul Care by Rob Reiber. And that was the starting point. And of course, just like anything you start, man, when you just are consistent with it, it grows and it develops.
Yeah.
And I've learned more about myself. Who am I in these last 18 months than I did in 18 years of chasing money, status, power, growth, all of it combined. And it's literally blows my mind.
And it's just, who am I?
Who am I?
That was the start.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one thing that we could all learn from that. And just, if all of us here, anybody who's gonna see this video, ask yourself, who are you? Find out who you are.
Yeah, but be careful. I mean, no, really. I know it sounds funny, but to whom much is given, much is expected.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're not ready to reinvent yourself, if you're not at that stage in life, you know, there's an old proverb that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready, this isn't a forced thing.
Yeah.
You got to really be
You got to be ready, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would even start with who am I. I think that's a little too deep for most.
Okay.
You know where I would start?
Where would you start?
I'd start by a more innocent question. What do I want?
What do I want?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do I want? And then I would ask, why do I want that? Attach something meaningful to it, a purpose.
Okay.
And then go ask yourself the third question. Who do I need to help in order to get this?
Okay.
Because see, we live in a world where we think that it's top down.
No, yeah.
But it's not. You know, Jesus has, his whole empire was the reverse economy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's life. That's humanity. You know, we live in a bottom. So I think what I've seen value in my own life is you ask, what do you want? Why do you want it? And then who do you need to help?
Okay.
Because life's not about you. Right? It's okay to want things. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to be ambitious, entrepreneurial, all these things. Nothing wrong with any of that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to ever accomplish a meaningful goal, you want to know the only way you're ever going to do that
by helping
is by
people,
bringing value to other people. That's it. So that's why that third question is so important. It's what do you want? Why do you want it? But then the third question is kind of magic. It's not who do you need to help you, right? Because you're going to need some help along the way.
Of course.
But it's who do you need to help?
Yes.
And if you'll get clear on those things, then the how will reveal itself.
Okay. Okay. Right? Yeah.
And that's how I did it. You know, some people might want to do it the other way, but I spent a good year asking those 4 questions of myself.
A whole year before you act?
A whole year. And who, you know, what do I want? Why do I want it? You know, who do I need to help? And how am I going to do it? But then I realized, well, hold on a second. I'm so many different things. I can't just have this list for like business.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I have 6 businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I need to go through this process with all 6. And they all revealed different answers. I wanted different things from this agency than I did from this software company.
Okay.
Right? I wanted different things from this real estate company that I did from the software company. And so on and so forth.
Okay.
But then as I got down this rabbit hole, I realized, whoa, dude, I haven't even answered this question. Like, what do I want? Well, I want to be a good husband to my wife.
Yeah.
You know, I want to shower my wife with love. I want to make her feel safe, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Why do I want that? So I had to go through that.
Oh, so you're dissecting.
And then I said, well, wait a second. You know, what about my kids?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
And I'm a father. That's one of my main, most fun, most hard responsibilities that I have.
Yeah.
Raising my children.
Yeah.
You know, and so I had to come up with that. You know, what do I want? Why do I want it? Who do I need to help? How am I going to do it for my children? And then I thought, well, wait a second. I'm a follower of Christ. That's something that I am. That's who I am. So I had to develop the same process there. And then you know what's funny? After a long time, I finally realized, like, hey, Chad, aren't you just a man?
Yeah.
Just a human?
Just like being a normal human.
So what, just like you? What about just you?
Yeah.
Not you within Christ, you within your wife, within your children, within your business. What about just you? What do you want?
Yeah.
And that was the hardest one, you know. But it wasn't until I started asking those questions, and then I said, I guess it was just a natural order of things. But it took a long time. Then I said, who am I? And I was like, whoa, dude. And you know, the reality is I'm in the journey.
And still in the journey.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers.
Yes.
But I'm asking all the questions.
Yes.
And that's always your best indicator.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, listening to you, I want to ask one question though, because I think it's going to have to do with what we're talking about. Because you've been through this journey, you know, for a while. And how did you know that, okay, this, I wasn't, like, let's say from 20 to 24 or 25, and when do you know, like, okay, this is done, I've, close the chapter, move on to the, like, how do you know that? Because the journey keeps moving, right?
Yeah, it's I think I think a lot about this. Nature provides the very best example for humanity.
Okay.
But you have to slow down and pay attention to it.
Yes.
So like you don't really know. Like if you live in Oklahoma, we have all 4 seasons.
Yes.
We have wintertime, turns into spring, makes way to summer, makes way to fall.
Yes.
Right? But you don't know when there's going to be 100-degree day in October.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it could happen.
You've seen that.
We've seen it.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you don't know when it's going to snow and be an ice storm in April.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you never really know. But I think what you've got to do is you've got to try to find a way to live in accordance with the laws of nature.
Okay.
Right? It's easy to say.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you do that?
And I don't know. I'm at the beginning process, Boubacar. Okay. I think if we were going to have this interview, maybe let's say 5 years from now, I am highly intentional. I want to answer that question.
Well, we'll circle back.
I have a deep desire to say, well, this is exactly how I know, because this is exactly what I did, and this is exactly how I did it, and this is the part that worked, and this is the part that didn't. But the reality is, for me to sit here and say that I know, that would be so arrogant, because I'm a student.
Yeah.
I just now started realizing certain things, such as, well, I've never really let go, right? And I've always chased the next goal, the next dollar. I've been one of those people for a lot of my younger life, especially my 20s. Well, when I can make $100,000, I'll be happy. Oh no, and then I make $500,000, I'll be happy. And then when I make $1 million, I'll be happy. Yeah. Right? Or when I get a bigger house, I'll be happy. Or if I could just have a little nicer car, I'd be happy. I've been one of those people, and that's just a human thing to do. So I think it's only been in the last couple years of my journey that I really started to unpack what I believe is a lot closer to the actual truth. Right? And that only happened. That didn't happen because I started another company, or I made another dollar, or I met another partner, it didn't happen for any of those reasons. I did a lot of that. It happened because for the first time in my life, I had a different goal. My goal wasn't to go do more deals. Yeah. Right? Or to build a better business. Right? Or to be more efficient with my time management. Right? Or to get higher returns on capital. My goal was simply this. I want to build a better version of myself. Yes. And that's where, it wasn't like a real existential crisis, but that one person whom I love dearly, she just mentioned in a conversation we were having, it's hard to be a human. And then I guess from that call, she felt called to send me the book, Soul Care. And that's what started the journey, man.
And that changed your life
right now.
That's awesome.
I'm right in the middle of it.
Yes. And what's next for you? I know this is the end of the year. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, what's next for me, so there's the human part of me, which I want to find my one core super gift, right? And then my 3 value contributions. Okay. And delegate everything else. Okay. So that's next for me as a person. Yes. Right? As a human being. That's what I'm committed to in 2023. But I also have these companies. So what I also realize is for me to be free, to be me, right? It requires me to delegate everything else. And I still am more active in my businesses. I play an active management role in all of them. And so what's one of my targets in 2023 is to hire and develop leaders that are operators so that I can delegate the entire management of the business. So those are 2 things that I'm kind of searching for in 2023, but I'm not necessarily searching for them with the intent of more, right? I'm searching for them with the realization that more is my problem. I'm already doing too much. Okay. I'm searching for those so that I can focus on less. Okay. Does that make sense?
Being more efficient?
Yeah.
I think that has to do with efficiency.
And really, not only efficiency, but also availability. Yeah. Being more available. Yes. Right, for a serendipitous conversation. Yes. Right, for catching up with a friend or family. Yeah. Developing a new relationship. Yes. Right, traveling to a new spot. Yes. Just staying free. Yes. So that I can hear more of my intuition. Right, that I can lean more into my walk with the Lord. Or so that I can help somebody in their time of need. Because sometimes you can have all the best intentions, but if you don't have some availability, if you're overcommitted, it's hard to make more room. Yes. So that's the intention. Okay.
I think those are big goals.
Yeah.
You know, it's end of the year, so we could call those, how do they say it, resolutions?
Yeah.
Your resolutions, you know, and then we'll check on that. We'll circle back because I think that's a great conversation. I think a lot of people out there are going through the same things, and I think sharing information and, like you said, being humble. Like, I don't know all the answers, but I know we need to start having this conversation. Is always start with the conversation.
Yeah, and I think that for anybody out there that might be listening, you know, it's easy to get distracted in outcomes. You know, when this happens,
yes,
right? The external things.
Yes.
Here's one thing I can tell you for sure, and I do know this for a fact. If you'll focus on the inside, your heart, mind, soul, then everything else on the outside will reveal itself.
Can you repeat that? Because that's awesome. That's awesome.
If you'll surrender to the outside things, right, and you'll focus more of your energy, time, and effort on your heart, your mind, and your soul,
yes,
then all those outside things will take care of themselves.
Yes.
So don't try to build a better business.
Yes.
Right?
Build
don't
a better
try to
you.
build more money.
Yes.
Don't try to get more.
Yes.
Try to build a better
you.
Heart, mind, and soul. And
that's awesome,
else
dude.
has this funny way of kind
That's
of
awesome, dude. I saw somebody on social media, somebody I know through Facebook said that the other day. I guess she's going through the journey, and it's always about sharing information. Love people, because people share information, inspire somebody else. And I told you on the journey of me trying to go back to the gym and getting fit again and everything like that. I saw her, and then she said, guys, I don't know who's gonna read this, who's gonna see this, but just work out 30 minutes, you'll feel a lot better, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've been feeling a lot better. I want to share that. It's like, oh yeah, I know this, So, you get back to the gym. It's like just those little things. It's just working, taking 30 minutes instead of thinking about money or all these problems. It's like, I'm gonna work on my spiritual, work on my health, physical health, and just take those baby steps. It's not gonna be easy, but we could all do it.
Yeah, and don't wish it to be easy, because that's a lie.
Yeah.
Life's just not gonna be. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be hard the whole way. So choose your hard, right?
Yeah.
J.W. Marriott says every Marriott hotel that I've ever stayed at has a quote, and he says, one of my all-time favorite quotes, it's all the little things that make the big things possible.
That's exactly
so never underestimate the power of improving your water intake. Sounds stupid, right?
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of even 15 minutes of cardiovascular exercise a day. Never underestimate the power of spending 5 minutes just writing in your journal.
Yes.
Right? Or 5 minutes in prayer, or 5 minutes of service to others. Because it truly is all those little things that make those big things possible.
Big things happen.
Yeah.
And is that what you said earlier about a tree? You gave an analogy about a tree. It's like everybody wants to see the tree being big and nice, but that the baby stages of you having that real foundation.
Well, where does the tree grow?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't grow up.
No.
First.
It grows.
That's an end result.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it grows down.
Yes.
That's what enables it to grow up.
Man.
So
okay.
That's what I mean. Don't focus on that tree, what you can see above the ground.
Yes.
You got to go into your heart, mind, and soul.
Yes.
Which to me is a synonym for your root system. And you got to be willing to go deep.
Yeah.
So, don't ask who I am. It's too deep a question. If you're not already on a journey, right, of mental health, of physical health, of spiritual health, if you're not already on that journey and you're somewhat mature in those areas, that's too big a question.
Yeah.
So where you can do, now, by all means, if you're on that journey, start asking, who am I?
Yeah.
And you need to have space and time and room to really think about it.
Yeah.
But it'll be hard, but it'll change your life.
Yeah.
Because you'll find out who you really are.
Yeah.
Because if you're a farmer and that's your greatest contribution to others, then if you try to hunt, it's going to stress you out. You're a farmer. That's the gift you've been given. But you're in a position where you always have to hunt. You're going to be stressed out.
Yes.
You're going to be a terrible hunter.
Yes.
You're going to get killed more often than you kill things.
Yes.
It's just not going to fit. But conversely, if you are a hunter and that's what you're born to do, go kill, and then bring it back and go kill, and bring it back, go kill. You can get caught up in farming activities. You're going to be a terrible farmer. All your crops are going to die. Nobody's going to eat.
Yeah.
And it requires both.
Yes.
Right. So that's what who am I? That question. Right. That's what it's been. That's the fruit in my life.
Yes.
It's helping me to really understand. Who am I?
Who are you?
And then I can align my commitments.
Yeah.
In my deals or my team, my family, my schedule. I can align it to fit who I am and operate in accordance with nature rather than fighting it.
Yeah.
But it all happens below the surface. It all happens in that root system. Yeah.
And it's crazy when we were children, and everybody grew up differently, but I played sports. A lot of people I know play sports. And then sometimes, like, I go back, I'm like, man, some of these foundations don't never change. Doesn't matter if you go from sports to business. Like in sports, like in soccer, you got to do a lot of running before the season starts.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we're not even touching the ball. You're just running, running, getting that heart rate up, like legs, make them strong and everything. And then, maybe you touch the ball a little bit. And then once you're ready, now you're going into games and watching films and tactics and stuff. You can't just come and watch films and play a game when you're not ready. So to me, like, and everybody's gonna listen to this. Pick where you are, grab that information that you need. And for me, the information is like going back to those roots. It's like, don't never underestimate, like, drinking more water, going to the gym for 10 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, those little things, reading, working on yourself. You start,
right.
It start with you.
Yeah.
And then the outcome will follow, because then you're ready for everything else. Man, I love you, man. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. That was for me personally, and everybody who's gonna listen, you're gonna find a different message depending on where you are, and then that's what we do for each other.
That's it.
That's what we do for each other.
People helping people.
Another word before we cut this, about the end of the year, holiday season.
I'll tell you a little something funny that happened yesterday. It just goes to show you sometimes the easiest things we take for granted.
Uh-huh.
So I live outside the city limits, and in our home we have water wells,
uh-huh.
and that's what allows us to get water into our house. Well, the well went out,
uh-huh.
so I woke up yesterday morning, didn't take a shower, didn't brush my teeth, didn't take a coffee.
Yeah.
It's like my whole world ended,
Yeah.
And we finally found a guy to come out and work on the well. But my wife and I were taking 5-gallon buckets across the street to our neighbor's house and walking them back so we could flush our toilets and stuff like that. And then I just had this realization, it's the easiest thing in the world to take for granted is running water. And so I just gave thanks right then and there. But I hope that next time that hot water falls on my back in the morning shower, that I don't forget to be grateful for it.
Take a second.
The next time I can turn that faucet on and get my teeth nice and clean, that minty fresh feeling, that I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
The next time I can put a bar of soap on my hands, and remove any germs.
Yeah.
I hope I can just take those subtle little things for granted because, on that note, I always think about it. In this world, take heart, you will have trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality.
Yeah.
Okay? But the Lord has come to overtake the world.
Yes.
And one thing I always try to keep in mind, right now when I'm cutting this video and when you're filming the video, our heads are up.
Yes.
And our toes are down.
Yes.
And sometimes, just like running water, those are the easiest things to take for granted.
Yes.
So, as we're in the holiday season, it's a busy time. It's a stressful time. There's a lot of demands on our time and our money, and there's gifts, and there's plans, and there's food, and there's travel. So I just want to encourage anybody out there in this holiday season, just know that you're loved. God loves you, no matter what's going on, high or low, left or right. If your head is up and your toes are down, it's a great day for a great day. And if you can turn on a faucet and have running water, you should really, really give thanks for that blessing.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much.